What happens if you stop feeling fully present in your own life? Not because you are physically absent, but because your mind constantly feels somewhere else. You go through daily routines automatically. You listen without fully listening. You scroll without remembering. You experience moments without truly feeling inside them. And over time, life begins feeling emotionally distant, mentally fragmented, and strangely unreal. At first, this seems normal. Modern life is busy, overstimulating, and cognitively demanding. But underneath this experience, important attentional and emotional systems inside the brain may be changing. Let's begin with attention. The human brain was designed for selective attention, meaning it constantly filters sensory information to determine what deserves conscious awareness. But modern environments overload this system continuously. Notifications, multitasking, rapid information switching, emotional stimulation, social comparison, and constant novelty repeatedly interrupt attentional stability. Now, the brain rarely remains focused on a single experience long enough for deep processing to occur. This creates attentional fragmentation. Now, let's connect this to the salience network. The salience network helps determine which experiences feel emotionally and cognitively important. Under chronic overstimulation, the salience system becomes overloaded by excessive input. Now, ordinary experiences begin losing emotional intensity. The brain becomes externally busy, but internally disconnected. Now, let's discuss the default mode network. The default mode network becomes active during internal thinking, self-referential processing, memory integration, future prediction, and mental simulation. This system is essential. But under chronic stress and cognitive overload, the brain can become excessively internally oriented. Now, instead of engaging fully with the present moment, the brain continuously predicts, analyzes, remembers, rehearses, or worries. You are physically present, but mentally elsewhere. Now predictive processing becomes important. The brain is fundamentally a prediction machine. Rather than passively experiencing reality, the brain constantly generates models about what will happen next. Under chronic stress, uncertainty, or emotional overload, predictive systems become hyperactive. Now the brain prioritizes anticipation over direct experience. You stop fully experiencing moments because the brain is constantly preparing for future outcomes. Now, let's connect this to emotional overload. When emotional demand exceeds processing capacity, the nervous system sometimes reduces emotional immersion to protect itself from overload. This creates emotional disengagement. Now, experiences feel muted. You function normally, but internally feel detached. Now, let's discuss dissociative adaptation. Dissociation exists on a spectrum. Severe forms are associated with trauma, but mild forms appear commonly under chronic stress, overstimulation, emotional exhaustion, sleep deprivation, and persistent cognitive overload. People describe this as feeling unreal, living on autopilot, being mentally absent, or watching life instead of participating in it. Now, attentional systems become exhausted. Working memory overload, constant task switching, unresolved cognitive input, and excessive stimulation reduce attentional depth. The brain shifts toward automatic processing instead of conscious immersion. Now life feels faster, but less meaningful. Now dopamine systems become involved. Continuous novelty exposure conditions the brain toward rapid stimulation cycles, reducing sensitivity to slower emotional experiences. This weakens sustained engagement. The brain begins craving stimulation while simultaneously feeling emotionally disconnected from it. Now here is the key insight. Presence is not simply awareness. Presence requires attentional stability, emotional safety, reduced cognitive overload, and nervous system regulation. Without these conditions, the brain cannot fully engage with reality in real time. Now think about modern life. Most people are constantly stimulated, but rarely deeply engaged. Always connected, but psychologically fragmented. Now, what happens if this continues long-term? Attention span weakens. Emotional memory declines. Stress increases. Meaning decreases. And eventually, the brain begins operating in partial disengagement mode most of the time. Now, how do you reverse this? First, reduce attentional fragmentation. Single tasking restores attentional depth. Second, reduce chronic stimulation. The brain requires lower input levels to restore salience sensitivity. Third, rebuild sensory awareness. Direct physical experiences strengthen present moment processing. Fourth, protect recovery periods. Sleep and low-input environments improve neural integration. Fifth, slow down cognitive switching. Rapid attentional transitions weaken immersion and increase fragmentation. And finally, understand this. Your brain was never designed to process endless stimulation while remaining fully present at the same time. Presence requires space. And without that space, the brain slowly disconnects from experience itself. If you found this helpful, subscribe to NEXPLAIN.